Technical Services and Business Excellence, Metallics Division, Tata Steel. We need to keep on clapping, yes. That's very, very important because every person that we are having in the house are very, very important to us. Shri Gopal Krishna Sharan, the Chief Mentor, Sai Group of Companies, Super Shakti Metallics Division, Super Smelters. Can we clap a bit harder, please? Everyone, yes. That's very, very important. Shri Jay Shankar Kumar, the Head Sales and Marketing, Shyam Steel India, Shyam Steel. Dr. Prafulla Y. Agnihotri, Director, IIM Sirmaur. Dr. Mohita G. Sharma, the Professor, Operations and Supply Chain Area, IIM Sirmaur. So these are the very important personalities whom we are having in the house, and I'm more than sure that we are going to know a great deal, have a lot of enthusiasm and enjoy the very first panel discussion. And yes, I cannot afford to forget our very important person in the panel who is the moderator. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, please welcome him. This is Dr. Manish Sarkil, the Assistant Professor, IIM Sirmaur. Yes, so over to you, please.
Steel industry forms the backbone of the country, and Nirmalo sir has given us a very good idea about the challenges and the future outlook that is there with respect to logistics and the steel industry going ahead in the future. Taking a cue from that, we have the first panel discussion on manufacturing with the esteemed panel, and Amitabh sir, I would like to start with you and ask you about the future trends that are there in the manufacturing industry, specifically with respect to steel, and how can industry-academia collaboration help in that respect?
Thanks Manish. Good afternoon everyone. I will just focus on, there are few things which are very important, as it is said, it's for the future proof. So to become future proof, I think sustainability is something which has to be ensured, which cannot be going forward. It will take the center stage. The people who have started their work on sustainability will continue, and the others will have to stop somewhere. So when that somewhere is, we cannot say it today, but it has to. If you have to be future proof, sustainability is very, very important thing that you need to, as an organization, one need to focus on. And now sustainability is not about only, obviously it's important to go in for new technologies, new way of manufacturing, changing the processes, the new processes which are more energy efficient or has a lesser of carbon footprint. But it is also important because that is a big leap, that's a big change, and that will need a lot of investment, that will need a lot of in terms of funds, so that I can say. But going forward, what will become important is how do you make your processes efficient? Whether it is your manufacturing process, whether it is your logistics process, with whatever you have today. It is how do you run your innovation engine continuously and get maximum out of that innovation engine. So that's about resource efficiency, if I can term it. So it is by investing, with less of input, you can maximize the output. So I think that is going to be very, very important. How do you use less of raw material? How do I have more fuel efficiencies in my transportation? Maybe better routes, and better routes, how do we can take in the logistics? As I think the previous speaker spoke from Virmed, that I think the use of alternate fuels, can that be explored? So these all need small innovation engine to run within the organizations, and many of the organizations are doing that, and that's why it is not only important, I touched on the first topic of sustainability, which is important, but it is also important from a cost perspective. So it's not only sustainable, it makes sense because any steel or any commodity such kind of a business, largely the competitive advantage lies in the cost. So if you are the best cost producer, you have that advantage, and that advantage can be the cost efficiency, the sustainability angle. Second, I will say the technology. Technology is going to be a major changing, which will have an impact. That's the digital technology. Though you may say the manufacturing is far from it, it's not like that. Digital, whether there may be talk about chat GPTs, etc., but I'm just keeping, I'm not talking about any particular technology or particular platform or particular, but that is going to be a big differentiator, and which technology to be used. I think that kind of knowledge will be very, very important for manufacturing, because it will be very, so the processes which I talked about in terms of the efficiency, that digital technology is going to play a major significant role, whether we call it an automation or digital, so wherever. So it's the IT and digital technology enabled solutions that will have a great impact. So with this, I will like other panelists to also.
Now here what happens is, what I find, you got to emulate, you got to copy the German model. The model in Germany where you have 50% of the time the students spend in industry and 50% of the time that they are busy with the academy. And we have experience in one of the companies where we started an institute where we were giving them training on, I would say, the practical training in the plant, on the job training, and subsequently they will come and practice whatever that they have done. They will be writing it down, and what are the experience that they had and what improvement that they can see. I mean, this is how we continued for 1.5 years, and they became an asset for the
I agree with you. And echoing your sentiments, what we have done, we have recently launched an undergraduate program. We have launched a school of undergraduate studies, okay, at auspice of IIM Sirmaur, which will give a graduate program, which will complete a graduate program 3 and 4 years in management studies, BMS we call it, Bachelor in Management Studies, in which one full term, it's a semester program, one full semester is kept for industrial orientation, where these youngsters would go after, I think at the third or fourth term, they would go and spend 1 term in the industry. And the institute will facilitate that journey. And they will come and actually see what they have been taught in first 3 terms being practiced in the 4th term. Coming back to you, Manish, industry and academia can collaborate in a great way. Okay. Say for example, this manufacturing management program. Okay. We have an association with organizations like Jayesh Logistics. We would like to have an association with maybe Tata Steel and all Sham Steel and everyone, your organization as well, okay, wherein we could like to offer a holistic program to our students. We don't want to create managers, as you rightly said, drivers with theoretical knowledge but no practical knowledge. Okay, we would like to have the practical plus theoretical knowledge, and that's how this entire program has been designed. Okay. And that's the way in which we need to go forward. I was a placement chair when I was here in IIM Calcutta, and I used to interact with every company that used to come on the campus. And one common thread among all of them, the thread of feedback that they used to give me, used to be, your student lack practical orientation. We have designed, that time I realized, we have designed these MBA programs based on what is being offered in the US. All IIMs, especially IIM Calcutta and IIM Ahmedabad, were established by leading institutes, leading MBA institutes then. MIT was number 1, which had established IIM Calcutta. Harvard that time was number 2, which it has established IIM Ahmedabad. And we have followed the same legacy. But we have forgotten one basic thing over here, that in the US or in the Western world, a person goes to do his MBA after minimum 7 to 10 years of work experience. And then you give them case studies that make a lot of sense. You were saying, sir, Tata Institute of Social Science. My son has done his MBA from TIS in HR, and I was amazed to see their curriculum. Every term, they have 4 terms, but at every term, they will send their young graduates to different companies for internships. And really 65, 66 students in the class, and being in Mumbai, facilitating that internship was quite easier for them. With about 300 agreements or MOUs in different spheres with the industry as well. I think I can go on and on and on. Manish, feel free to stop me. Let me stop over here. I hope I answered your question in the process.
Yes.
But these are all the feelings that I have, and therefore I thought I would just share it with you. If you would love to be a partner with the industry, and industry and academia must be partners, there are 2 wheels of the same chariot, and they must work hand in hand. Then only both academia and industry will benefit. आपने जो research के बारे में कहा, we can help you in doing that. May not be in technical side, IITs can help you, but on managerial side, we can help.
So I can add to what Professor said. I think the gap between the industry and the academia is both sides blame each other in terms of the agility on the other side is not there. But I would say, I think what will be good is that today the regular MBA 2-year program structure is like that, where they go for a month of summer internship, 2 months of summer internship, and that's all. So now what happens is these 2 months can be fruitful in some cases, where from both sides there is an interest. So when the organization also has a very much of interest, and the student is also very much interested to learn that thing and deliver results, but many a time it doesn't work because either of them don't have an interest. Many a time the student is also like, yes, it's a 2 months thing that I have to just pass the time, and many a time industries also are busy not to invest that much of time. I feel I do not have an answer just now to it, but then if there is some kind of a continued engagement with the industry, may not in complete form, these 2 months can further extend in terms of a student allocating maybe 15-20% of his time from remotely also, and when that student wants to come again and visit sometimes on weekends, etc. I think that kind of an engagement will make this better. Second is, I fully agree, it should not be, when a person is graduating in a B school, that student must take 2-3 industry exposure, because tomorrow it is important, maybe 3 months, 4 months, they are attached to certain industries. I know the curriculum itself is very, very rigorous and very, it takes a lot of time. So how?
Whether it is steel or the manufacturing, we cover in manufacturing sector nearly 17% of the GDP. For steel, if you take up along with cement, the infra is around 12% in the total GDP contribution of India. So that's great. But let me honor Sir Agnihotri and Gopal Sir and Amitabh Sir also were here. Few questions, because when we were doing MBAs, we never had so much of specialization. Our numbers were few. Whether to go in HR, whether to do marketing, that's all. The most was the finance, which we avoided because we were salespeople altogether. Now the gamut, the things have changed. In fact, if you look at the entire policies have changed since last 10 odd years. You will see our students today moving from Sirmaur, because I'll just tell you one, a fortnight ago I was at IIM Sirmaur for the Bring Maya session that they have there within themselves. So in that session, I could realize, if you talk to the students over there, because these are all Gen Z, this was not in our style, because they used to interact with industry panel of experts, they have immense knowledge, because they were interacting more with industry people. So I beg your pardon, sir. So things have changed the last 2-3 odd years. A lot of collaboration have been done with the academia also. People have been interacting, students come forward, they ask you questions. And there is a panel also, very well-headed placement committee. They send to all industries. Maybe according to sir also, we do not get responses ASAP. It takes time. And more than that, because industry people, we don't have much of things left in budgeting of R&D. People don't do. But now we have been asking during our budget sessions, do keep some space for R&D. We have a hell lot of issues which are not being resolved. Things like the sir very pointed out in the beginning itself today, that what about and how do we move forward with academia collaborations? he pointed out very brilliantly things that how do we move forward. Things are like आगे कैसे बढ़ना. Now whether we go in with the budgeting scope or we are not realizing the importance what is going to happen next. A lot have changed. Like the way he said steel, it was an unorganized sector purely before Tata Steel wanted to brand it. Now we have been east, if you look at the number of companies, even Siam Steel, it has come with celebrities just to make it a brand and sell in premium space. There are other companies also. We are doing it, moving forward, inching, looking forward. If you even Manish did bring into collaboration, apart from what is there on the stage, everything is there. We are all holding scales because we are moving up. In what is the bottleneck in particular for steel manufacturing is because there are questions which we have been put up. We have many issues to be taken care with the help of academia. Logistics is one issue because we are not delivering things on time. Serviceability the key factor. Because in the cement, what Manish said, we were doing rail freights, we were loading rakes, we were serving via road. Still it is being carried on in the old primitive ages. But when I worked with Penna Cement, with the initiative of inland waterways, there was one plant over here in Khidirpur. Then we had a plant in Gopalpur near Odisha. It is just near to the sea, here it is near to the Ganges. So we moved from rail freight to oceanic freight. We started calculating not in rail freight or TDC, we worked on nautical miles and then we had oceanic freight imbibed in. So we have been moving up the ladder. Yesterday was there, but today we are inching forward and we look forward to a brighter tomorrow. Similarly in steel manufacturing, now apart from logistics and serviceability, there are many things which we can do in manufacturing also. We have to bring down the costs. In cement we work on TDC, total distribution cost. Here also we are inching forward, looking forward to reduction of cost. That is the only measure. Sometimes we bring in steel as a raw material from China. When the import comes in too much, the prices will all be wrong bottom. If it doesn't, for some reason, if it is not coming, we have to look forward to our own scrap and things alignment in India, so the prices will go high. This has to have, for some reason, there has to be inconsistency brought to a level where we can match our own standards and work for a better vocabulary. We have to look at those changes. So manufacturing is one skip. Amitabh sir also pointed about ChatGPT and AI. It's not that our workforce will be all off. No, sorry. AI has a lot to offer. Because yesterday was something different. We have moved into a digitized technology now. Everything works on applications. You ask for any companies today, they are all digitized. Every data is there in their mobile. How much stocks do we have in our warehouses? What is there in the transport? Where our trucks are moving? Where is our rate today? So everything is there. How much it has moved forward, whether it is an X or an FOR basis, whether the transporter has to bear the freight or something has to be done. If a dealer today also, if he has some issues in the dimensions that he has to receive, which is mismatching with the orders given, he will raise a ticket, it is getting resolved within 24 hours. It was not there in yesterday's India. So we are moving forward. If you look forward, the same thing in manufacturing anywhere, any across, you find it is working on application. Even the owner or the board of directors know what we have earned yesterday. This is not there. They used to wait for books. If you look at the Sensex also today, in a quarter-based economy, the results were published for first quarter was there. They used to take 3 months time frame. Today it is not there. First quarter is over, you will get their numbers. It will say next quarter by 15th. So that is huge. And moving forward. Even if you look forward to manufacturing also, we are aiming high and we hopefully by 2047 somewhere or so, we will be one of the biggest economies. It's not there. We are 26 trillion is the data that Nirvana gave. I believe it will not be inching forward to 2047, but we will be reaching that number somehow in 2040s. With the economies of scale that we look forward to India, you will wonder with few numbers that we have it. I also wondered, by manufacturing there is a company called Ready to Eat. I was just
manufacturers, if we could have a discussion.
Yeah, so reliable process of producing iron and the most cost competitive that way. Because India, if you see, has huge reserves of iron ore, actually doesn't have the kind of coal that is required for steel making. for which we are highly import dependent. But because of our self-sufficiency in iron ore, the blast furnace process of iron making has been very, very cost competitive. In fact, it is still the most competitive process. There are over-the-horizon technologies, because the industry is, as Gopal sir was saying, the industry, in fact the other experts also in the panel have highlighted, the industry is going through a transformative phase. And India, as you know, has nationally determined contributions and has a net zero target. So the government has taken incremental targets. And let me tell you this, that the Steel Ministry, for example, has a target for 2030, which is to reduce the current carbon dioxide and other GHG emissions intensity from the steel sector, which is currently at a level of 2.55 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per ton of crude steel. It's a data provided by the Ministry of Steel. So the government is thinking of reducing it to less than 2.2 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per ton of crude steel by 2030-31.
But some of the problems require more thoughtful, prudence into the solutions that could be there. And we talked of TQM, we talked of TPM. These are established solutions from the Japanese perspective. There could be some inherent problems of India, but we are never looking at those. So maybe at some point of time, the industry could come to us, leave us with a problem, and continue their journey on the treadmill of their what they want to meet. And we can, because of the breadth of knowledge across the industries that we have, can come back to you and find solutions for that. So that cycle is not happening in India. And at the same time, another thing that I observed was many of the PhDs or solutions become part of the learning experience of the student. So the cycle becomes more, there's a loop that is there which is not happening. So at some point of time, if we can relate with each other and different...
So a job of an educational institution is knowledge creation as so at this point I would like to open the
academia, collaborations, etc. But that 70%, they are either first-time entrepreneurs or they have inherited that. With the little money that they start, they are afraid because they do not know what to ask and the institution. Now, Mamta ma'am said that the industry must come. On the contrary, I would say the institution must go to the industry and say that this is what I can do it. You got to understand the pain points of the industry and offer them what you can offer. And I'm sure people will come forward and say, yeah, I have got this pain, can you help me with this? You see, if I expect that the industry to come, industry is earning their money, they get their ROI and they say that I'm happy with whatever that I had. But you say that, yes, I can add value to your, say, productivity. I can add value to the quality of people. I can add value to their knowledge. It's not only I'm talking about business schools, I'm talking about engineering colleges also. Now, it is their responsibility to ensure that they come to them and then the interaction takes place. And there are many ways. You can, if you don't know the industry, you have associations where you can say that the association can always be called and then you can give a presentation what the institutions can do for you. And then you may be having a specialization on one area where you can offer it to the people. And you see what today we are doing it, the associations are calling the academia for 1 day training or 2 day training and they get a lot of money. But to my mind, that's not sufficient. Unless you hold the hand, companies, give them your idea that in this area you have this specialization, you can do good to them. take money from them only once you have achieved the target. And there, that's the place where you can add your students, you can always induct your students to learn and do activities which will be practical, will be research oriented, and the industry will also gain. And once I get some money, I get 10 rupees out of it, then I won't mind sharing that 3 or 4 rupees or 5 rupees to you. The idea is, this is how one can do the collaboration. Otherwise, what will happen, we will always come in a conference like this, talk about it. We can talk about 3 million tons. I can tell you, people, every industry is trying to do best, their best. Whatever little knowledge they get from one to another, and then they are following that. But then academia has to come forward and say that I can make an exponential jump in whatever that you are doing. And how can that be done? That is what is the question of research. And that research you got to do it and then give it to the industry. This is what my idea.
Very well put, sir.
That's all I have to contribute.
Yeah, I think that is why we have launched the course on manufacturing management. It is leadership in smart manufacturing with RWTH Akin. So I think it is in line with that, wherein we can get the best of the technologies, the IoT-enabled additive manufacturing into cyber physical systems to the students, so that we can have the leaders for the tomorrows. Thank you.
Thanks.
Super Shakti Metallics Division, Super Smelters.